Before we start the video, I just want to announce that I opened a Ko-fi page. Donations are optional, of course, but the option's there if you want it. Alright, let's get things started. My name is the original Alex, and for the past year or so, I've been the one and only original Alex. Well, I mean, there was also this guy, but original? Come on, that's not even a word. A lot has happened in that year or so. I was like, alright, I'm actually gonna finish making a video. Boom, Cookie Run tier list. Alright, I'm on the board. Part 2, Part 3, Part 3.5. I couldn't render the whole video as one whole part. Next thing you know, I'm picking up an old project of mine. Can you beat PvZ2 with only PvZ1 plants? Started it back in 2020, but lost a bunch of notes from it. So here I am, replaying through the whole game again. Edit a part 1, and the video explodes overnight, I'm serious. Even now, the video is still performing well, and I'm blown away that people like something I made this much. And so, I'm feeling motivated. Finished up the series, made some different types of content, My Singing Monsters, Polygoons, Parappa, Minecraft. But even after all that, I know my work in Plants vs. Zombies 2 wasn't done just yet. And for the last 5 months, I've been grinding. Gem plants, I got them. Seed plants, I got them. I was forced to play Arena for Scaredy Shroom, and I got into Silver League from what feels like complete luck. But to make a long story short, I got what I need, and I'm ready for anything. I highly recommend watching any of the previous parts if you haven't already, but if you don't want to, that's cool as well. This is Can You Beat Plants vs. Zombies 2 with only Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants? Part 4. Here we are, back in Plants vs. Zombies 2. A lot has changed since the last time I recorded. I've got a lot more coins, a lot more gems, and I even have mints, as unnecessary as they are to the challenge. I also have all the plants I wanted for this challenge.
No, not you, Seamus.
Ah, poo.
You probably got some questions about this roster, but don't worry, all will be explained later. As for what levels we'll be playing, let me introduce you to expansion levels. Around the release of the infamous plant upgrade system, new levels were added to Ancient Egypt and Modern Day after their respective Zomboss fights. These levels were meant to take advantage of the upgrade system, offering harder levels to be countered by high-level plants. Only 6 of the 11 worlds got around to having expansion levels made for them, and eventually these expansion levels would be removed and made into timed events, where these levels can be played under a time limit to win gems. Then 10 levels became 8 levels for some reason, and here we are today. But no matter the case, I'm gonna beat all of them in this video. Buckle up for the hardest levels vanilla PvZ2 has to offer, as we make our way back to... Day 28 skips the pleasantries and puts us straight into a locked-in loaded level. Thankfully, we're given enough to work with. Sunflower, Cabbage Pult, Gravebuster, Imitated Gravebuster, and best of all, Snow Pea. Snow Pea is especially useful here, because this level introduces us to Pyramid Head zombies, who have nearly twice the amount of health that Buckethead zombies have. This would be where leveled up plants have an advantage, but remember all, except these two, of our plants are still level 1. As for this level, placing sunflowers at the front lines really helps in gathering sun and building a defense. I originally tried to find a balance between Snow Peas and Cabbage Pults, but Snow Peas alone were enough to suffice. Just try and prevent graves from spawning by planting plants over where they'd spawn. Overall, day 28 isn't that bad, and seeing as we're given Snow Pea, is possible. Oh boy. Oh? If we're getting Pults, then graves shouldn't be too much of a problem. Then again, we're gonna need a lot better RNG to get the Pults required to take out Pyramid Heads. We do start getting repeaters more than halfway through, but that's the problem. I'm not getting more than halfway through consistently. And it's not like Peapod's gonna make much of a difference at the pace we're getting them. This was actually the point where I decided that if I couldn't make it past 2 levels, that getting further without having all the plants I wanted for this challenge wouldn't be possible. But after coming back 5 months later, I was feeling confident. And I actually made it more than halfway through. With Peapod. Yeah, this level still wasn't going great. I decided to challenge myself by treating Peapods as pea shooters and repeaters, which was helpful in providing meat shields. But I wouldn't count myself beating it this way as possible. Peapod is Peapod. At the very least, we're in all new territory. I have no idea what to expect from every level from here on out. Let's jump into day 30. Judging by this level's design, I assumed sandstorms would be frequent, and that we would have needed something that attacks backwards. And while a plant like split pea is helpful, they're not really necessary. Wintermelon is crucial to extinguishing flames and slowing crowds, while sunshrooms in the front provide sun and a good defense. Try and be smart about your lawnmower usage as well, and you should be more than fine. Well, I hope you were smart about your mower usage when you still had the chance. Oh, that got bad fast. We don't have enough time to get any wintermelons out, the sandstorms are relentless, and graves keep coming out faster than we're destroying them. What can we do? I already teased our plant selection earlier, but now it's time to address them in the context of this challenge. As you already know, we have every adventure plant, torchwood, and the 3 gemiums, squash, jalapeno, and hypnoshroom. However, we also have all 4 premiums, snow pea, imitator, chomper, and cactus. So that bears the question, what plants have I spent the last 5 months grinding for? Well, for our PVZ-1 collection, those plants are starfruit, pumpkin, and the newly released scaredy shroom. And outside of our PVZ-1 collection, homing thistle, explodonut, ice bloom, gloom vine, and mega gatling pea. Quick note, this challenge was recorded long before ice shroom and sea shroom would have been added to PVZ-2. I'm not sure if I would have allowed ice bloom if I had known this information, but I'll leave it at that for now. That's 7 plants I had to grind over 1,000 total seed packets for. And believe me, it sucked. If PVZ-2's ad system worked like how it did in the Battle Cats, you bet your ass I would have grinded 250 ads in a sitting to unlock each plant one day at a time. 250 ads is baby mode. Do you know how expensive 11 draws are in the Battle Cats? So yeah, that's how I got all the plants I wanted. But how does this play into the challenge? Allow me to introduce to you all the 4-tier system. A system created by yours truly to categorize plants from most to least accessible. The plants in Tier 1 are the most accessible to anyone, and are the plants I'll be attempting to beat every level with unless I can't. The plants in Tier 2 aren't as accessible, but complete the PVZ-1 plant collection. The plants in Tier 3 are as accessible as the Tier 2 plants, but aren't entirely or exactly PVZ-1 plants. They're either based on a PVZ-1 plant, or function similarly to a PVZ-1 plant without requiring plant food. And finally, the plants in Tier 4 are the 4 premiums, which cannot be obtained without spending real money. Tiers 3 and 4 are interchangeable, but I value accessibility more than consistency in this case. And those are the tiers. An organized method in allowing myself to use cediums and premiums. Let me show you this tier system in action. Returning back to day 31, our Tier 1 plants just weren't doing the job. So I'm going to try using a Tier 2 and a Tier 3 plant to beat this level, which are Scaredy Shroom and Ice Bloom. While it's a bit disappointing that Scaredy Shroom alone doesn't have any special gimmicks, the existence of a 25 Sun Pea Shooter is still a nice option, even if it doesn't work in every level. Scaredy's plant food effect is also ridiculously good, which I'm looking forward to experimenting with in time. And if you're wondering why I brought Ice Bloom, then that's why. I can't lie, I thought Ice Bloom was pretty awful when I unlocked them. You're expecting me to pay 200 Sun for what's essentially a slightly buffed Ice Shroom? I never even cared for Ice Shroom in the first place. What would make you think this is gonna make me care at all? Well, with how much more Sun you get in PVZ-2, Ice Bloom makes for a pretty nice support late game. It's not designed to be an early game staller or a primary attacker, but that's okay because it does its actual job pretty well. This level is definitely beatable without Ice Bloom, but seeing how it trivializes the sandstorms makes it a candidate for the future. I was dreading one of these levels. But if we treat these like the fat beats in Neon Mixtape Tour Day 5, then I'd say we have a shot. Welp. I also forgot about the plant limit, so let's try that again. F you for making these assholes take up 2 plants, by the way. That's technically affecting the gameplay, which means that we can't let graves spawn there. And the zombies spawn in the second lane. Great. I believe we have a problem. Well, a multitude of problems. But here's the biggest. We need Ice Bloom. And we need 2 of the same seed packet. So this level is going to require tier 4 plants. We also just don't have enough time to set up winter melons. And killing zombies in the traditional way isn't as efficient. But this is tier 4. We've got all our cards on the table here. Which plant can take out hordes of zombies in a limited planting space? Explodonut is the second most important plant in making this level possible. It's efficient, it's cheap, it allows for stalling, and it recharges in 10 seconds. However, it has one weakness. Explorer Zombie and its fast, bulkier variant Torchlight Zombie. How do we deal with them if we don't have enough time for Wintermelon? Snowpea. Affordable, has a chance of freezing, and blocks graves from spawning on these tiles. These three plants, along with Imitator, are crucial in completing this level without using Bonk Choi. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Your run of this level could either be the same or different to mine. If the first zombie appears in lanes 2 or 4, restart the game because you're not going to have enough time to stall. You have to know when each sandstorm is going to appear and where each sandstorm is going to appear, so that you can time your ice blooms accordingly. But sometimes one ice bloom isn't enough. Sometimes 2 ice blooms aren't enough. Cherry bombs and jalapenos. And like with ice bloom, your timing has to be perfect. Otherwise, it's right back to the beginning. Sometimes the game fucks you over by letting you plant over the limit when you shouldn't be able to. But having the strength to restart is what makes the difference between you and I. Because with enough practice, skill, and determination, anything's possible. Hardest level in the series so far. This looks weirdly easy. Oh. This bears the question though. Which plants could we bring alongside Wintermelon to effectively kill Gargantuars? Well, we can't afford a lot of damage. So how about we take another factor into account? Luck. I feel like I've neglected Kernelpolt all run. And it wasn't until that one Apple's Big Wave Beach Day 28 run when I considered its potential. And through stalling this guard long enough, we were able to chill it. I wound up making it to the end, but I just didn't get the luck I needed. However, with enough attempts, quick thinking, and a touch of luck, it's definitely possible. Here we are, the penultimate day. And I don't even know what to say about this one. I guess I got close? You don't even need to plant sunflowers, as you get more than enough sun falling from the sky to afford walnuts and cherry bombs consistently. However, the issue is how this level wants you to beat it. You have to stall this group of camel zombies so that you can blow up as many as possible with cherry bombs. The problem is that our walnuts don't have enough health to stall these camel zombies long enough. So how do we counteract this? By leveling up our plants like the game intended? Nah, we're boosting this bitch. And that boost gave our walnuts just enough health to stall these camel zombies long enough. Does that make this level technically impossible for our challenge? Well, yes. But hey, 2 out of 8 impossible levels ain't too bad. Especially when most worlds have a fourth of impossible levels. But with that, we're on to day 35. Zomboss. That is a horrible start. If you think one Repeater and Gravebuster is going to beat this, then maybe there's just a chance that you're an idiot. There, that's the only object show reference you're getting out of me. If day 29 was any indication, then you'll know that we only have level 1 plants to take all this out. But this plant selection isn't all that bad. Parsnip's plant food effect is crazy good against Pyramid Heads. Sapfling's slowness is always nice to have. Celery Stalker's DPS is as great as I remembered. And Repeater and Bloomerang are the icing on top. Day 35 is surprisingly possible. Well, it's impossible, but it could have gone a whole lot worse. And with that, the Ancient Egypt expansion is complete. A lot of this expansion's difficulty arises solely from day 32, as I believe that's the hardest level I've beaten in this game thus far. But every other level was decently fair. I was really expecting to get steamrolled and having to call this challenge off somehow. But if I made it this far, then I'm excited to see how much further I can make it. Next stop?
Ahar, matey!
Being the easiest vanilla world next to Far Future, Pirate Seas definitely ramps up the difficulty for day 28. Not only are we limited to 2,000 sun and 15 plants, but the level has the balls to send out 2 Gargantuars in the first 2 waves. My original plan was to let the first Garg take on my mower so I had time to save up for Wintermelon, but by the time I had my first Wintermelon out, the level had already sent out 4 Barrel Roller zombies. Safe to say, Wintermelon wasn't cutting it, both in saving time and saving sun. So I had to explore other options. Luckily, I came up with an unorthodox strategy that did the job. I replaced Wintermelon for Melon Pult and Kernel Pult, which was cheaper and arguably stronger than Wintermelon with the right amount of luck. I also delegated the middle lane for sun production and substituted Walnut for Garlic. Finally, Puffshroom provided enough extra damage to help our catapults, and that's the play. In my previous attempts, I also experimented with timing Blover and Cherry Bomb to deal with the barrels, and that worked nicely as well. I'm telling ya, finally being able to use Blover in Pirate Seas is a gift. I don't know about this one, dog. Things were manageable at first, but this objective is incredibly ambitious for the amount of damage Kernel Pult deals. And that doesn't just apply to the objective either. There are so many high health zombies, and one explosion from the imp cannons are enough to end the run because Kernel Pult is horrible at crowd control. You can make it to the end pretty consistently, but by then, Kernel Pult gets extremely overwhelmed. So, it seems we have no other choice but to rely on a boost. Boosted Kernel Pult works wonders here, as having 100 sun on hand at all times allows you to permafreeze every zombie on screen. And given enough time, zombies go down one by one. Unfortunately, I can't imagine this level possible with our challenge restrictions without using a boost. But there you have it. This fucking music glitch is making me go insane. Day 30 is the perfect embodiment of what Pirate Seas would have looked like if I had access to world keys and adventure mode. Fumeshroom excels in crowd control. Wintermelon not only deals with imp cannons and barrel rollers, but chills the only lane zombies can come in from. And Blover? Apart from the basic zombies, Blover nearly invalidates every zombie in Pirate Seas. The only plant unaccounted for is Cherry Bomb, who's just as amazing, but requires getting through all of Pirate Seas to unlock them. Day 31 is a last stand level reminiscent of Day 22. The flowers in the middle disrupt a possible spikeweed strat. Believe me, I tried. Along with seagull zombies requiring a secondary attacker. We're also given a very limited amount of sun, and one explosion of the imp cannons could result in an imp landing right on our flowers with nothing we can do about it. I tried a lot of strategies. I even experimented with the Blover only run, which might have actually worked if I didn't have less than a second to time every Blover. But eventually, through what felt like complete desperation, I managed to come up with a strategy. It did require tier 3 plants, and I don't think Explodina was necessary, but this strat was foolproof. Scaredy Shroom and Gloomvine provided just the right amount of extra damage to keep our Wintermelons chilling the imp cannons. And by the time you reach the final wave, Scaredy Shroom's plant food effect clears out the rest. Seems like we'll just have to keep these zombies out of their detection range. Well, that went horrible. Zombies entering their detection range aside. This level was a load of horse. Our level 1 plants are just strong enough to deal with these hordes of zombies. It also doesn't help that the start of this level is based solely on butter RNG. Even past the first wave, you better hope your Kernel Pult's butter enough, because you need to use your plant food on Snapdragon to deal with the middle lanes. But hey, let's say you make it to the end. Well, you better clear out those barrelheads fast enough because you've got 2 Gargs to kill. These Rhodobegas can't even attack the Gargs. Why am I protecting these plants to begin with? And if your Kernel Pults aren't buttering enough, or if their imps get to the Rhodobegas, it's all the way back to the beginning. I've had runs where the difference between winning and losing was having to use 1 plant food on Kernel Pult to clear out these pelican zombies. That was it. That could have been the run. I know this level is possible. I've made it this far, I'm just not getting lucky enough. But this level isn't even possible for the challenge. Is it even worth doing it the hard way? Well, no. But that's the funny thing about luck. It kinda just comes to you. Insanity. Why has every conveyor level been this hard? Day 33 is interesting. In taking out all the flying zombies at the start, the level begins way earlier than I'm ready for. So we're gonna have to stall. If this single swashbuckler dies, it's a restart. We're also gonna need a cheaper strategy, because by the time we reach the first wave, there's an ensemble of zombies ready to kill us. If it's not the bucket heads, it's the barrel heads. If it's not the barrel heads, it's the barrel rollers. And so on. Thankfully, Scaredy Shroom makes for the perfect inclusion. Average damage with a cheap enough cost to allow us to save for wintermelons. Yikes, that is a ridiculously small amount of sun. I'm just gonna jump to tier 2 because we don't have very many cost-efficient plants. The plant loss restriction also limits us to 1 blover, so we'll have to be smart about when to use it. Well, that was bullshit. Guess we know what to use our blover on. Turns out that if we can chill the parrots, then we might have a chance to kill the parrots ourselves. So, with enough luck and plant food for our Scaredy Shrooms, day 34 is completed. And now, day 35. Good start. As nice as spikeweeds and jalapenos are, they aren't enough to beat this level alone. In fact, even the lightning reeds and the dandelions that were given to us aren't enough to deal with these zombies. Instead, I think we're supposed to use Charred Guard to knock groups of zombies back into Zomboss to kill them. Specifically Gargantuars, because man, does Zomboss love to spam guards in this level. But if Zomboss isn't jumping around like a maniac, then we're stuck fighting hordes of Gargantuars the old-fashioned way. And if it wasn't obvious, 7 lightning reeds and 3 dandelions aren't taking out this. Honestly, if it weren't for strokes of complete luck, I probably would have lost this level over and over again. But anything's possible with a little RNG. Upgraded plants? Bro, I kicked your ass with level 1 lightning reeds. Fuck outta here. Overall, Pirate Seas wasn't too bad. Sure, there were some hard levels, but nothing sucked quite as hard as Day 32 of Ancient Egypt. Plus, the normal levels of this expansion were pleasantly easy with the right strategies. Let's settle up for... I'm not sure what to expect from Wild West. It's a pretty basic world with an underutilized mechanic. However, what I wasn't expecting was 2 epic quests. Day 28 is... a day. We can't really beat this level as intended, and even if I allowed Electric Pea Shooter and plant leveling, we can't even unlock EP without paying $5 first. The only thing more disappointing would be if I couldn't get 160 gems from... weak. Day 29 shouldn't be bad so long as we don't use our magnifying grasses. Wow. That wasn't bad at all. Quick, let's get out of here before the devs scale it to magnifying grass's power. That's a lot of minecarts. But if we play this out the way we did for day 29, we should be fine. And that's another one down. This is going surprisingly well. What? No, we lost our mowers dialogue? Yep. Well, if we have to use PVZ2 plants, we might as well drip them out. Wait, that's the only costume I have for Bonk Choi? He has like 50 of them! There we go. Now back to this Oh, there's the dialogue. This level involves a lot of micromanaging. You have to keep a close eye on the lawn at all times. Bonk Choys are always on the brink of death, and you cannot use Hurricane if there are zombies past the flowers. Thankfully, Stalia, Shadow Shroom, and Celery Stalker help a lot, and you're even given a generous amount of plant food, which I only use to stall this conehead. Once you know what you're doing, day 31 is beatable. We were doing decently well with Wintermelon, but there just wasn't enough power in this setup. I tried switching out the use of Tall Nuts for Blowover, but it did about as well. Let's jump to tier 2. Scaredy isn't perfect here, but the minecart layout allows him to synergize. You bitch! You also get a lot of plant food. Safe to say, we've got another one down. Day 33 is not awful, but we spend so much sun getting a defense going then it means we have to spam sun shrooms to afford winter melons. And then there's day 34. The endangered plants should pose a challenge, but they're also 2 free winter melons. Granted, you gotta stall heavy before the first wave, but even then, you can stall a Gargantuar indefinitely with any fast recharge plant so long as it's chilled. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Wild West really wasn't that bad. I mean, there's still Zomboss, but how much worse could that really be? Wild West Day 35. I've heard rumors of this one being the hardest level in the game, and not in a cool way. Poor design, not fun, generally unfair, and extremely luck-based are some phrases I've heard to describe Day 35. But I'll be the judge of that. After all, I've beaten some extremely difficult levels thus far. What'll make this one any different? Day 35 gives us Hypnoshroom, Walnut, Spikeweed, Electric Current, and Iceberg Lettuce. And of these plants, I'd say that we have access to the best ones. This fight is unique, in that we have to use Hypnotized Zombies to damage Zomboss. We're given ample resources to do so. Hypnoshrooms are common on the conveyor belt, and Zomboss provides a ton of plant food. This is actually not that bad. But then comes Phase 2. The problem is pretty simple. We can't build a strong enough defense. Hypnoshrooms are great, but they're meant to be eaten. Walnut and Spikeweed are useful, but they're missile fodder. I'm not even sure what I could have done differently before I died, because the amount of chickens that get released are crazy. Let's just try this again. And 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 again. I finally made it to Phase 3. I just don't know what to do anymore. I tried accumulating. I tried placing and shoveling. I tried avoiding. I tried walnuts in the back. I tried walnuts in the front. I tried Hypnos in the back. I tried Hypnos in the front. I tried getting a boost for Hypno in the Zen Garden just in case I needed it. I tried everything I could think of. But no. This level's either possible with a boost or not possible at all. I just have to keep playing until I get to Phase 3 again. I ran out of time. And now, I have to wait around 2 months to try it again. And I mean, that's fine, but I'm technically not even halfway through the expansion levels. I could still play through the rest, but what if this happens again? I have to wait 2 months to try one level again? I could just access an earlier version with the expansion levels on the world map, but I have an iPhone. Have you experienced Apple's security? How am I supposed to download external apps on this? I bought another phone. Yes, this is a new phone. And before you run to the comment section, no, I didn't blow $1,000 on a new phone for one video. I'm not that impulsive. I had been thinking about getting another device for YouTube stuff, and I actually bought this for an extremely affordable price. I just thought it'd be funny to imply that Wild West Day 35 made me buy a new phone. But with this new technology, we can now access a previous version of Plants vs. Zombies 2 and play any of the expansion levels without a time limit. Of course, I'll be beating the remaining expansion levels on my main save, but at the very least, we can play through Day 35 at our own leisure. And just in time, too, as there's a strategy I'd like to try. During one of my fits of blind insanity, I managed to stumble upon a strat for Day 35 that could actually work. This strategy involves placing all the plants we're given in order to make the conveyor belt give us nothing but Hypnoshrooms. Now, this was something I tried initially, but didn't have a plan on where I'd place everything. But with this layout, I can not only place down all the plants I'm given, but avoid them from getting in contact with the zombies. Which, in Electric Current and Iceberg Lettuce's case, is necessary for this level to be possible for the challenge. It took a bit of workshopping, but once I got everything in place, it was starting to look achievable. Phase 1 went to Phase 2, and Phase 2 went to Phase 3. I was getting so close to beating this level, and then an imp touched my electric current. Let's just try that again. I beat it. I beat Wild West Day 35! And not only did I beat Wild West Day 35, but I beat it with only Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants! It's possible! Wild West Day 35 is possible for the challenge! I can't believe it. That was so hard. I can't deny that those rumors weren't true. This one was pretty bad. There were so many moments where I wasn't sure how I'd lost, or how I was even supposed to win. And I genuinely believe that if I didn't find this strategy out there, that I wouldn't have seen myself completing this one. But anything's possible, right? I am not going to miss this world, or this level, for as long as I'm playing this game. Let's get out of here and never look back.
Weed eater.
Thank God for Far Future. I'm not sure how most players rank it, but I find Far Future to be the easiest world next to Pirate Seas. Power tiles, overpowered plants. Hell, the only thing threatening about Far Future is how much health the Zombot Tomorrowtron has. Which, judging by the last level, is apparently something I have to worry about now. But come on, it's Far Future. Let's see what Day 28 has in store for us. Getting a little excited, aren't we? Typically when I have no defensive plants, I place my sun producers in the front to stall zombies while producing sun. But this is a rare instance in which I need to defend my sun producers in order to afford enough starfruits. Thankfully, starfruit's plant food is pretty powerful when used directly on zombies. But there are so many zombies we need to use it on that we'll eventually run out of plant food. That's where our mowers come in, but by the time we reach the final wave, we'll have used most of our mowers just to get that far. To put it simply, there's no pretty way to beat this level. It's all about sunflower and starfruit spam, keeping them alive and conserving your plant food as much as possible. Your ultimate goal is to have all your mowers by the final wave so that you can take everything out. But poor stalling and reckless plant food use is the difference between a run and a fail. And if you want some quick plant food math, 1 plant-fed starfruit is enough to take out a gargantuar, and up to 2 hollow heads, I think. Well, this level's impossible by default, although it's nice to use Sapling again. I also thought to try a 3-Peter Torchwood strat since Sap doesn't chill, but no, don't try PvZ1 strats in PvZ2. Oh, the irony. Well, thanks for introducing an entirely new mechanic in the middle of the fucking level. Let's move up to Tier 2. Once again, Scaredy Shroom's cheap price is surprisingly useful. I had also forgotten that mecha footballs were in this level, but thankfully, Scaredy's plant food took them out before I got to find out if they'd push the mold colonies and kill my saplings. Day 30's a smelly sun bombs level. I had the genius idea to use Split Pea to take out these jetpack and Blasternaut zombies from behind. But then the level thought it'd be funny to spawn shield zombies in the middle of the lawn because fuck you, enlightenment seeds for $49. This level's all about sunbomb RNG and using them to kill zombies. You're either going to have a good time or a bad one. Unfortunately, Day 31's impossible for the challenge. However, the level itself is surprisingly easy because of how hard these plants carry it. We also lost our lawnmowers. I'm not sure if the power tile bug persists in these expansion levels, but this is pretty ridiculous. Wait a minute. This is the first time in this expansion that I'm actually using power tiles. Where the hell have they been these last 3 levels? Hey look, power tiles. This level's not too bad, but it's not easy either. The high health zombies really start to add up, and you need to time your blowovers for the bot swarms unless you want to deal with this. You're also going to want to protect your winter melons as best as possible. But if things get desperate, shovel them. Better to get 250 sun back than get nothing at all. Day 33 revolves around bot swarms, but that's nothing blowover can't handle. Oh boy. So, these bot swarms dictate the pace of the level. The faster you take out the bot swarms, the faster the level progresses and eventually starts to overwhelm you. So, for the first time in this challenge, blowover is a bust. And in case you were wondering if Spikeweed could handle the flowers... yeah... Unfortunately, I don't think adventure plants are gonna cut it, so we're moving to tier 2. Yeah, with what little room we have to work with, Scaredy was destined to fail. I think I know how to beat this one, but it'll require tier 3. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but even Explodonut didn't make that much less difficult. That was probably the hardest level of Far Future objectively, even though Day 28 was harder to beat with Starfruit alone. Side note, this level was possible to beat with tier 2 plants, at least since the release of Ishroom. Still pretty hard though. As for Day 34, it was looking to be quite problematic before I realized that I can save up for Wintermelon while dealing damage at the cost of 50 sun later. And that wasn't too bad. But now we're at Zomboss. It cannot be worse than Wild West, right? Nah, just kidding, it wasn't that bad. It can be a little annoying at the start though, seeing as you need good conveyor belt RNG to get blowover, and good zombie RNG to not have a hollow head hold the plant food. But once you start building up plant food and power tiles, this level becomes a cakewalk. Again, I don't think you were supposed to get this many power tiles, but I'll take it anyways. We celebrate with 80 gems, a new costume for Tallnut, and the ability to not hear this stupid music loop ever again. Seriously, I turned the volume off and it's still playing. I'd say that this was the second easiest expansion thus far, but Wild West Day 35 is hard carrying its difficulty, so let's just head back on over to...
I drowned that croc in my own blood.
From the year 2023 to 153,954,765 years before our departure. That's a bit of a jump. There's also, you know, the jump in difficulty between Far Future and Jurassic Marsh, but that's okay, I'm not worried at all. Day 35 sucks. Not only is it impossible under our challenge restrictions, not only are we not given any mowers, not only do we need a good conveyor belt RNG, but it's also never fun to play. Raptors and T-Rexes are sent out non-stop, which is ironic because this is the first time T-Rexes have ever been a threat. Raptors, on the other hand, wouldn't have been a problem if Primal Pea Shooter couldn't knock back zombies into the flowers. Finally, there's the Jurassic Bullies. You're expected to use Chili Bean to take out Jurassic Bullies, as they're immune to Primal Pea Shooter's knockback. However, this gimmick is really inconsistent, as sometimes it proves an annoyance, while other times it doesn't. In fact, inconsistent is the best word I use to describe this level. Off to a pretty bad start. Oh boy. Toadstool's enormous range makes them a huge pain in the ass to avoid using. And this first wave is not doing us any favors. Although I don't know why it didn't cross my mind to try Puff Shroom. The Ancient Egypt Day 32 trauma must have been pretty fresh around the time I was playing, because I jumped to using Explodonut the moment Scaredy wasn't working. Having a good crowd controller to deal with high health zombies for 50 sun and a 10-second recharge is extremely busted. It would have been wrong to not restrict it to tier 2. Also, take out any guards before they get the chance to throw their imps, as this Toadstool will eat it in a heartbeat. Ah, pterodactyls and ankylosauruses. How nostalgic. Thankfully, garlic remains useful in Jurassic Marsh, diverting zombies from the dinos. Sunshroom spam also helps against zombie spam, providing a quick defense against zombies and ankylosauruses while generating a lot of sun. Once you learn how to control the chaos, because this level does get chaotic, it's all yours. Yeah, no. One level 1 3-peater is not gonna kill an amberhead zombie by the time it reaches the end of the lawn, are you kidding me? Challenge aside, this level isn't horrible. It introduces Jurassic Rock Puncher, who is immune to Primal Pea Shooter's knockback and can destroy our plants. 3-peater may not be able to take them out alone, but in numbers, they provide ample support to our Primal Pea Shooters. I love 50 Sun Cherry Bomb. Not that one.
Out of the way, you!
Not having more than 15 plants is gonna be a bit of a problem with these dinos. Oh, bet! This level is actually pretty easy. But then the game gives us banana launchers, so f*** you, because there goes our 100% Explodonut chance. I could try keeping banana launcher on the conveyor belt to manipulate the Explodonut RNG. Didn't work. I could try placing and shoveling. Didn't work. I could try asking the conveyor belt to move faster. This rots. Fuck this level. If you have a better shot at beating it, be my guest. Fun fact about day 40. It's almost identical to day 28. Ain't that something? I spent so long trying to formulate a nice strategy that would hold up, but nothing was working. And because I don't want to beat what's left of this game with just Snow Pea and Explodonut, I settled on the only other way to deal with zombie and dino spam. Sun spam. Seriously, spam sun producers, spend sun on fume shrooms, bring puff shroom for support. It's as simple as that. Finally, day 41, last stand. This level was going so well until this one dino showed up at the end. Good game design. I did have quite a bit of plant food saved up though, so let's try this again. Well, things got messy around the end, and this single zombie prevented me from affording a cherry bomb earlier. But good butter RNG went a long way in beating this level. You're going to want to take out this cluster of imps with Wintermelon's plant food effect, and make sure you get enough sun back from shoveling your plants to afford another cherry bomb, jalapeno, and squash for the final wave. And now, Dr. Zomboss. I'm not sure what I should be expecting anymore. Impossible without PVZ2 plants. Thankfully, this level isn't too bad. Guacodile's good, Primal Pea Shooter's good, Parsnip's really good, and Perfume Shroom goes without saying. Zomboss does get a little missile crazy, but it's surprisingly nowhere near as bad as modern day Day 34. And that's another expansion down. Jurassic Marsh really stepped up the difficulty, but not in a fun way. The dinosaurs were a huge pain in the ass to deal with, and the zombie spam in this world is relentless. Which is not an expansion thing, by the way, that's just Jurassic Marsh in general. Only 8 more levels remain, a 5 jalapeno world expansion. Time to go back, or should I say go forward, to modern day. Here we are in the future, and the final expansion of Plants vs. Zombies 2. Interestingly, Day 36 is the last stand. We don't have a lot of sun to work with, and brickheads have more health than any of our level 1 adventure plants could comfortably handle. We could try and stall out as many brickheads as possible with Wintermelon and Walnuts and take them out with our instas. Or we could jump to tier 2 and take advantage of Scarity's low cost and strong plant food effect. But I ultimately decided on jumping to tier 4 for this one. For all the people on part 1 who still comment about me not using Chomper, this one goes out to you. This might be a problem. Yeah, that's about right. If the pterodactyls were used sparingly, garlic could have been great here. But this one's not too bad. You need to save up for winter melons as soon as possible, because they take care of everything. Seriously, I don't think the pterodactyls got a chance to lift a single zombie off the ground once I got 2 winter melons out. But on the off chance that they do, pay close attention, because zombie invincibility is as stupid as it sounds. Day 38 is dreadful. It's crazy how much the Save Our Seeds levels have tested what I can and can't get away with in this challenge, and Day 38 is no exception. The level starts off innocently enough, although we have to conserve our instant plans for Newspaper and Sunday Edition Zombie, who's a super buffed newspaper zombie that can tank a hit from Squash. As for the Moonflowers, they won't affect our gameplay so long as we don't collect any sun produce from them. So what's the problem? Well, it stems from the final wave. 3 Gargs is nothing I haven't dealt with before, but their imps are complete run enders. Beating this level already requires a tight-knit strat, which involves micromanaging Puff Shrooms, Gravebusters, Twin Sunflowers, and Squash to afford Wintermelon before Flag 1, and then affording a Wintermelon in every lane while also dealing with Newspapers, Sunday Edition Zombies, and Gargantuars. But to add 3 imps at the end that can force you to do that all over again is pretty malicious. My winning run was both a complete stroke of luck and complete bullshit. Because if I had used that Squash for the top Garg, my Wintermelons would not have killed this imp in 2 shots. Day 39 isn't too bad, but it's really messy. You're going to want to spam as many Sunshrooms as possible in order to afford 2 Wintermelons before the first wave. And once you can afford 2, this level becomes about affording another, and another, and another, until you've made it to the end. I couldn't imagine beating this level without Wintermelon. They're practically the universal solution. Day 40 has the groundwork to be a really frustrating level. Jesters, Boombox Zombies, and Gargantuar Primes. However, I found that spikes make for a solid solution. They give nothing for Jester to reflect, they're unaffected by Boombox Zombie, and they're far too up to be targeted by Gargantuar Prime's laser attack. Using Wintermelon creates a bit of a risk, as they can be destroyed by Gargantuar Prime's laser, but in my opinion, the reward far outweighs the risk. What makes this level tricky is how you have to dedicate 4 instas in killing the first 2 Garg in this level, which uses up 4 of the 5 total plants that you can lose. You can try killing the Gargs traditionally, but then you risk them killing more plants than the 2 necessary to kill one, so that's up to you. On my winning run, I couldn't lose a single plant, and this one attack could have been the end of my run. Fortunately, Spike Rock's plant food effect actually kills any zombie in its lane, and not in the way it used to. I'm not sure if this is a bug or a balance change to differentiate between Spikeweed and Spike Rock's plant food effect, but it's powerful enough to instantly kill Gargantuar, and I think that's worth noting. Oh, say less! Yeah, we lost. Just as the Puff Shrooms couldn't take out the Excavators in Lost City Day 8, all the Wintermelons in the world couldn't take out a single Parasol zombie. This one just isn't possible. But aside from that, I find this level to be really creative. You're given Wintermelons and Snapdragons, 2 plants that interfere with each other's abilities. However, this level sends out Parasols and Imp Dragons, 2 zombies that are vulnerable to one plant, but not the other. You're expected to use Wintermelon to take out the Imp Dragons, and save Chili Bean and Chard Guard for if they get too far into your defenses. Alternatively, you're expected to use Snapdragons to take out the Parasols, and save Chili Bean and Chard Guard for if they block Wintermelon's projectiles. That's a really interesting way to play into these zombies' mechanics, and show that even the most unlikely plants could synergize together given the right circumstances. Props to whoever designed this level. It feels straight out of a mod, and I mean that in the best way. Finally, the penultimate level. Huh. That's not what I was expecting. No crazy objectives, no expansion mashup, no portals. You know what? Let's give our premium and CDM plans some love. It is the last level after all. Let's have some fun. Oh. Forgot about the sun requirement. Surprisingly, you have to do a decent amount of stalling on this level to reach that sun requirement. Because of that, Wintermelon was just too powerful for this one. Thankfully, Kernopal made the perfect replacement. Pumpkin was also helpful, and Scaredy played its role as a cheap, affordable attacker. I'm not sure what this interaction was about, but we did it. I'm sure this level is completely possible without Tier 2 plants, but it was fun to give them one last hurrah. And now, we've arrived at day 42, the climactic finale of our journey to try to beat every level in Plants vs. Zombies 2 with Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants. But before we fight Zomboss, I thought I'd leave no stone unturned. Remember that save I used to beat Wild West Day 35? Well, that save includes the 12 missing levels from each timed event. And because I bought a new device for it, I figured I'd beat those remaining 12 levels for the sake of completion. Granted, I am limited to Tier 1 plants on my second save, but how hard could they be? Let's return one last time to ancient Egypt.
Outrage in Egypt tonight as it was discovered that the Great Pyramid of Giza had been stolen.
The real first level of ancient Egypt after Zomboss is manageable through our familiar strategy. Stall for enough sun to afford Wintermelon, and they'll take care of the rest, with Puffshroom, Squash, and Cherry Bomb for support. Day 27, on the other hand, is a little more complicated. The same idea remains, except you have to be a lot more aggressive in producing sun and setting up a defense. If your Puffshrooms don't take out each Explorer zombie at the start, you're as good as gone. There's also Necromancy in ancient Egypt, which can leave your front lines unsupported for a while. Seriously, you know a level's hard when even 2 Wintermelons aren't enough to control everything. You have to play this one the way the game wants you to play it, but once you get into the rhythm, you're more than halfway there. On to Pirate Seas.
Well, yo ho ho and the yumpity dum. My IQ was very low. I'm a pirate and I'm dumb.
Looking back, I think I underestimated how difficult the Pirate Seas expansion truly was. And Day 26 was no exception. It is hard. I nearly threw in the towel trying to find a working strat for this level with Tier 1 plants, but I managed to find one. You gotta stall just enough to get a decent defense going, and if you built up enough sun producers by the first wave, you should be able to afford your first Wintermelon. I genuinely thought Wintermelon would be unviable for this level, considering how much is thrown at you before the first wave. But if you can get 1 down, you could get 5 down. And if you can get 5 down, then it's already over. Man, how many jalapenos is this world again? Day 27 is ridiculous. It gives you a false sense of security by giving you 3-peaters and, oh, Spike Rock. But this level sucks and the developers know it because it ain't in the timed event. The barrel rollers are non-stop, the seagull zombies are non-stop, the pirate captains are non-stop. 3-peater can't even attack the barrel roller zombie itself, and it's the only plant capable of consistently killing seagull zombies. Spikeweed and Spike Rock get destroyed constantly, and if that wasn't bad enough, you've got 5 guards to take out by the end of the level, with 4 3-peaters and 1 Spike Rock. I tried beating this level with only PvZ1 plants, but the furthest I can consistently make it was past Flag 2, and I don't think I can make it any further. If this level were possible for the challenge, I'd reckon this can be in the top 5 hardest levels, no doubt. Fuck Pirate Seas for actually stepping up its difficulty.
Wait, howdy guys.
Quiet, nope, stools don't
Come
talk.
sit on me.
No, not here. Anywhere but here. Day 26 is easy, and minecarts make it even easier. Just do the same thing you did in ancient Egypt. Also, suck it, Frisco. Day 27 isn't possible for the challenge, but it sure is possible in general. Why is every level in Wild West easy, but then day 35 happens? Whatever. That just means I can get out of here faster. Moving on to...
I am a robotic entity.
Far Future Day 26 is challenging, but not insanely difficult. I do wish this run could have gone cleaner, but I'm not gonna complain over a job well done. Day 27's not too bad either. Until they did this. In what universe could I have been prepared to deal with that? I guess I'll have to save some sun for Blover, assuming this level won't do this more than once per wave. However, I will say that I'm quite impressed with how well this strategy worked. Fumeshroom may be seeing less and less use in my run, but I love when they're given a moment to shine. Let's see if they'll have a use in Jurassic Marsh.
Dinosaur office! Roar!
What kind of person opens a level like this? Day 33 was looking pretty bad, until I remembered the golden strat of Jurassic Marsh. Spam sun producers. Things don't get any easier once you bought your first wintermelon, and you've still got to keep on the lookout for those ankylosauruses. But through enough micromanaging, day 33 is more than possible. It turns out that we lose our mowers as early as day 34. And boy do I wish that wasn't the case, because maybe we could have had a shot at this level. If it wasn't obvious by the first 2 zombies, Split Pea could not take these alone. Maybe from the back, but that wouldn't matter anyways because we can't lose more than 10 plants. And in case you were wondering, no, this is not post-buff Torchwood. I was thinking this level could be possible on my main save, but there's no way to access this level on it. Plus, if boosted Split Pea wasn't enough for this one, I don't have high hopes. Goodbye, Mom. Now, back to where it all started. Modern day Day 35 is undoubtedly the best first expansion level. You're actually given time to ramp before the first wave, and even if barrel rollers in the middle are kinda dumb, you can easily take care of them with Sun to spare. Really glad modern day remembered that portals exist. On the other hand, Day 36 sucks. You want to talk about bad level design? Try 2 imp cannons at the start, giving you 2 tiles to deal with an onslaught of imps. Follow that with an explosion of imps if not taken care of, and then 2 more imp cannons, wizard zombies, and newspaper zombies. I genuinely have no idea how I beat this one. I just happened to stall out long enough to have the mowers deal with the rest. I could not figure out a viable strategy by the time I completed this level, and I will not miss it going forward. To modern day Day 44, it's time to end this. Fumeschroom? Spikeweed? Chomper? Are we actually going to get a PVZ1 finale? Well, kinda. I'm just gonna cut to the chase. Modern day Day 42 may be the hardest possible stage to beat under my challenge restrictions. This fight rivals Neon Mixtape Tour Day 32 in terms of difficulty. Except luck plays an even bigger role in determining how this level plays out. You will never be comfortable in this fight. Every plant you can use can't reliably take out a majority of these zombies. To the point where if you don't get Chomper by the time Zomboss starts spawning zombies, you might as well restart. Fumeshroom and Spikeweed are good plants, but 2 Fumeshrooms are not enough to kill a balloon zombie, let alone 1 newspaper zombie. That's not to mention you've got Dusklobbers and Nightshades clogging up the entire conveyor belt, and that after phase 1, Zomboss starts to send out even higher health zombies, such as All-Stars, Sunday Edition zombies, and Gargantuars. I poured so many attempts into this fight, but my best run saw me losing to a Sunday Edition zombie because of Chomper's startup animation before eating. Which is, I mean, whatever, man. I really wanted to beat this level legitimately, but with the insane RNG requirements, the time limit on epic quests, and the fact that my second save has pre-buffed Chomper, I thought I'd get some help from a place long forgotten. You thought that in the months this video was in the works that I wouldn't be prepared for this? And that's a wrap. While I might have beaten it the unlegit way, I don't know how else I would have beaten it. But it was really satisfying to crush this level considering its difficulty. We get a rushed send-off to an underdeveloped storyline, and an official ending to our PvZ2 adventure. And now, to tally our final numbers. At the end of part 3, I concluded that 243 out of 317 levels were possible with only PvZ1 plants, while 74 out of 317 levels were impossible with only PvZ1 plants. However, in the year since I released that video, the total number of possible levels increased from 243 to 261 thanks to the efforts of these users. As for impossible levels, the total dropped from 74 to 56. But now, we've got some addition to do. Counting the 60 expansion levels, the total number of levels increases from 317 to 377. And now, out of 377 total levels, which includes the 5 tutorial levels and includes all of the expansion levels, 301 levels are beatable with only Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants, while 76 are impossible with only Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants. That means that just about 80% of Plants vs. Zombies 2 is beatable with only Plants vs. Zombies 1 plants. Whether you stuck through the whole video or skipped to the end to see the final totals, I appreciate you making it this far. I never thought anyone would be around to experience this journey with me, but considering the final percentage, I'm glad to have made it this far. And who knows, that percentage will probably increase one day. With dedicated players like these, and more PvZ1 plants just around the corner, there will always be something to come back to in this game. And if PodCap really wanted to finish what they started, I'd certainly play through it. Thank you for watching this video, and seeing this challenge to the very end. I never expected this series to have put me out there, but I might as well have fun with it while I still have your attention. Thank you so much for 1 million views on part 1, and most insane of all, thank you so much for 50,000 subscribers. Making it this far is one hell of an achievement for me, and I'll continue to create for as long as I can. I appreciate your time and attention, and hope you'll stick around for the next one. As always, I'll see you then. Peace.